From non-production pickups all the way to the buggies. It's new. It's the True Value Off-Road Series. ESPN, the world leader in motorsports, welcomes you to the Lake Geneva Raceway in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin for the opening round of the True Value Off-Road Series. Hello again, everybody. I'm Marty Reed, working alongside with Ivan the Iron Man Stewart. And I don't know about you. I think I know, but we are pumped for this 1994 season. And three of the classes you're going to see today are classes you've never seen before on our ESPN off-road coverage. The one that you have been familiar with in the past is Class 910. Those are the fastest buggies that you're going to see on our coverage. But let's start it off with Class 11S. Give them a little background.
Well, that's a full-body Volkswagen. That's a entry-level class. That's the ones the guys come in, they want to start racing the S.O.D.A series. That's the one you started, Marty. Should be a lot of fun to watch.
And it's very inexpensive, so keep an eye out. Maybe you might be getting involved and be out here being interviewed by the Iron Man. We're going to step up the program a little bit, the Class 1 1600. Now, those are buggies with 1600 cc power plants. And then we move into Class 13, non-production pickup trucks.
And these should be really fast and a lot of fun to watch, a lot of action, a lot of things going on. I'm really looking forward to watching these guys.
Working with us this year also down pit side is Rick Johnson. You may recognize him from behind the wheel of Chevy Thunder in the Mickey Thompson Stadium Series. Rick?
Hey, Spart, here, this is the only tool you're going to need. I'm not going to be driving or working on cars this weekend. I'm here to tell you about what's going on behind the scenes. I'll be talking to drivers, mechanics, and crew chiefs to give you the inside line from the pits.
Well, thanks, Rick. Let's take a look now at the race conditions. An absolutely perfect day to go off-road racing. 80 degrees, no chance of rain. Let's take a look at this layout at Lake Geneva.
Well, Marty, I think this is one of the trickiest tracks we have in that we have a Le Mans type of start. We start on the asphalt, we come down, make the hard right-hand corner that can be real tricky. A lot of congestion down there, back to the backside. Right-hand corner that can be a good passing area. A couple big jumps back in here, back onto the asphalt, dirt to asphalt. Transition there can be real, real tricky.
And coming out onto the race course right now, the 23 vehicles, that's right, 23 of them, which will make up the 1600 field. Let's take a look at what this is all about, Ivan.
Well, Marty, these are the engines of VW type, 1600 cc. We use a restrictor plate. Minimum weight is 1,300 pounds, and they make just about 80 horsepower.
Now, because of the power-to-weight ratio, it truly is a driver series. Here is the True Value starting field. Todd Addick, he has been very familiar to our off-road racing fans, defending champion. Dan Badu in the 705, Dan from Saginaw, Michigan. Also in the starting field today, in the number 633, it'll be Kerry Bowles from Belgium, Wisconsin. He's 32 years old. Starting in also in the 721, Joe Watke from Neshannock, New Jersey at age 22. And Greg Smith in the 792 from Hopkins, Minnesota at the age of 37, still pounding the dirt. Todd Crump comes from Garden City, Michigan. He'll be in the number 710. Also in the starting field, Gordon Zima, a long tow for Gordon, all the way from Terryville, Connecticut. He'll be in the 673. Now, the rest of the starting field, as you look down the names, remember there are 23 vehicles. And again, Ivan, I would imagine going down into turn one, the dust and that hard right-hand corner is going to be critical.
Oh, let me tell you about it, Marty. You've got to get a good start here. If you don't get a good start on this one, believe me, the way the course is designed with the dust, you're not going to finish well.
All right, remember, Todd Addick is the defending champion from last year. He's in the 707. The green flag flies. That is Addick on the left side of your screen, jumping to the early lead. And look at this, they're 5 and 6 abreast as they head towards turn one.
Boy, you talk about a traffic jam. It's going to be interesting this first corner.
Oh, and one of them runs into the course marker right there. No severe damage. And again, gets underway. Look at the traffic and the dust. We can barely see him. I can imagine they can barely see out the front. That is Addick, who has raced out to the early lead. Paul Morris and Mike Seefeld battling out there. Now, Morris is in the 634, Seefeld in the 797. That is the battle for second place right there. Seefeld taking over the position now, and Kerry Bowles trying to close in for third.
Marty, look at the suspension on these cars. Believe me, they don't have the amount of wheel travel we're used to seeing in the big trucks, and we're going to see a lot of tight racing. This field is really, really close.
Again, that's part of the power-to-weight ratio, although right now it looks like Todd Addick's found plenty of power. That's the difference between first and second. Seefeld in second place. And right behind Mike is Paul Morris in the 634. Then Kerry Bowles in the 633 is in fourth. And there's a battle for fifth. Ducking underneath, that looks like Greg Smith on Pete Kowach. And Kowach looks like he's going to try and take the position back. He's the 730 car.
Oh, he made a great pass. It was like he's going to make the pass. That was a good move. Great move.
So those two continue to battle it out. There you got another glimpse of Seefeld, then Morris, and Bowles and Smith. So those cars running nose to tail. Bowles in the 633. There was a quick glimpse of our leader. Boy, Attic is running away.
Well, Marty, Todd Attic's got a tremendous amount of experience. And every time we watched him run, he's always been out in the front of the pack.
All right, this is the battle for third. That's Morris in front of Bowles and Smith. Oh, and Bowles takes Smith way wide.
Interesting in these classes, Marty, with at least a little bit of horsepower they have, they just cannot afford to get out in that loose stuff. Not like a big truck. They don't have very little horsepower. They got to stay on the hard, dry, packed dirt.
Well, Kerry Bowles is caught back up to Paul Morris, and there's Greg Smith. So the battle is joined again between these three. This is the best race we've got going on the course right now. This is for third, and we haven't even completed the first lap.
Marty, also remember the suspension travel is very little compared to the big truck. We're working probably 8 or 10 inches of travel compared to 20 or 30. So you can see these cars hit the ground, they bounce, and they really don't have all that technology.
All right, now up onto the asphalt. This is the smoothest part of the race course for these guys. That is Greg Smith trying to look to the inside of Kerry Bowles, but he can't make the pass. Bowles now making a move on the outside of Paul Morris, as now it's a drag race to turn one again.
Down to that hard right-hand corner. He's going to try it on the outside.
Well, Paul Morris holds the line. Greg Smith cutting to the inside. Ooh, and he almost cut it too close.
This is good racing, Marty. This is what it's all about. This is the entry level. This is great, great racing.
Oh, and Morris gets up on the bicycle momentarily, makes a nice save.
There's a little bit of a berm there on that right-hand side. I've noticed all day that the guys are hitting this berm and throws them up on two wheels.
That is the 634 of Paul Morris. He is still holding on to third place by the skin of his teeth. Kerry Bowles and Greg Smith. Now Greg Smith looking to the inside. He may have the line this time. He cuts it much harder, and yes, Bowles gets wide and loses the spot.
He gets out on that outside and that loose stuff on the outside. You just cannot afford to do that with these small horsepower cars.
So now it is Morris third, Smith fourth, and Bowles in fifth. And there you see Seefeld going through the shot. He is in second place. Mike well behind as Todd Attic has basically run away from the rest of this field. So the battle continues here in lap number 2. Whoa, trouble down in the pits. This is Mike Skalitsky, Ivan.
Well, they got a CV joint problem or something, Marty, looks to me like.
Well, let's go down to Rick Johnson, see if we can find out what's happened.
Mike, you look like you have some rear CV problems. What seems to be the problem?
Well, we broke the CV on pre-run, and now we came out. Now we lost our clutch, so we're stopped in third gear. We're trying to get a little adjustment there to so we have more than one gear to go around this track.
So, a typical problem for this type of race vehicle?
Well, it really is, Marty. Using Volkswagen technology, and it's old technology, and they're racing with it. The weak link has been always the drivetrain. That's what you guys are experiencing.
I don't think the German engineers over there decided that they wanted to design those for racing, but that's what we do with them at the True Value Off-Road Series. Stay with us. We'll be back after this. And coming around the corner right now is Todd Attic, and he is running away from this field in Class 1 1600 action here at Lake Geneva Raceway.
He is really, really putting it on him. He's extremely strong here, Marty.
This is the battle for second, a full straightaway behind. That's Mike Seefeld and Paul Morris. Now Seefeld is in front of him right now. Oh, getting a little wide there.
Got a good race going here, Marty.
These guys going after each other. Now again, we talked about suspension. And anytime you get out of the race line, it seems to really pitch the car.
Well, it really does. And I think the biggest thing with the guys get out of the racing line is they get over in that loose soil, and it just robs a little bit of horsepower. We talked about having 80 horsepower, and you just can't afford to give any of that away.
These are 1600 cc power plants, and let's go back. This is actually that happened away from the leaders. Mark Steinhardt getting sideways here, and ooh, tags the course marker, goes up and over, and we can tell you Mark is okay. In fact, he's back in the race. It's amazing the punishment these vehicles can take, Ivan.
I tell you what, Marty, that's a tough one.
Now, we can tell you Greg Smith has gotten around Paul Morris for third. In fact, as we rejoin this battle, here is Greg Smith passing Mike Seefeld for second place. So as they come by, there will be 1 lap remaining for these guys as they are on the white flag lap.
Marty, something I noticed about Greg's car, if you look real close, you'll see smoke coming from out the exhaust here, and I hope he's not having some kind of a problem.
Yeah, there it is, a puff of blue smoke, but Greg Smith opens up about a 3-car length lead. Here is the race leader. He has led from the get-go. Todd Addick working his way around the course. Whoa, a little bit slower through there. Of course, he's got such a huge lead, he can afford to be slow.
Sure, he's got a big lead. He's saying, let's take it easy and get to the checkered flag.
2 turns, in fact, 1 turn now remaining for Todd Addick. He'll make that turn and get the power down one last time. So Todd Addick, who won here last year, is going to defend his 1/1600 championship up onto the asphalt of the Speedway. And at Lake Geneva in the True Value Off-Road Series, your winner is Todd Addick. Second across the line will be Greg Smith, and third will go to Dan Badu as he gets past Mike Seefeld. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll talk to our winner. Marty Reed, Ivan Stewart, and Rick Johnson back with you at Lake Geneva Raceway for the True Value Off-Road Series. And here's the way they finished in the top 5. Todd Addick, Greg Smith, Dan Badu, Mike Seefeld, Paul Morris. Then Todd Crum, Mark Kruger, Mark Steinhardt, John Huss, and Bill Brown. Rick Johnson is down in victory lane with our winner.
We're here with race winner Todd Addick, a demanding lead. Is there any race strategy that you use a little different in the different cars that you're driving this weekend?
Well, Rick, this particular car has a 1600cc engine, and there's a lot of limitations. The class is supposed to be equal for everybody, so it's kind of a driver's class. In some of the other classes, you got to kind of use a little more finesse and a little more skill involved in pace in the car. But this particular class, you just go all out, and it held up today, and hopefully it'll hold up the rest of the season. Thanks to BFG and Budweiser, we've got a lot of support behind it.
Our congratulations as well to Todd Addick as we now see the 11S vehicles making their way out onto the racetrack. You know, before we get to this, I want to bring in Terry Wolf. He's the president of S.O.D.A. It's his job to take care of the Short Course Off-Road Drivers Association. That's what S.O.D.A. stands for. He talked about the future of the series.
And one of the things that we're looking for is to educate the public that there are a lot of classes in racing. A lot of people get entered in it from the beginning class of inexpensive models all the way up to the full stuff that Jack Flannery and Walker Evans and Scott Taylor raced. We're looking to expand it, get people interested in it, make it even bigger than it is right now. We got to look at expansion very closely because the organization is pretty much located here in the Midwest, and a lot of guys don't want to travel too far to go racing, but it is something that we have to look at as we get more exposure from television, what the sponsors want from us. We have heard rumors that some other tracks around the Midwest and reasonably located are looking to be sanctioned. We're going to have to determine how we're going to fit them in and not get too spread out.
You want to talk about the success of S.O.D.A? Take a look at this field. 31 cars in 11S. Now, this is the entry-level class in the series. And let's talk about it, Ivan.
Well, Marty, these are Volkswagen Type 1, 1,585 cc's, all stock parts, minimum weight of 1,300 pounds, and these cars make about 50 horsepower.
So you can see that compared to the 1/1600s, a little lighter in weight, also lighter in the horsepower. Chevrolet starting field, Dan Badu will be in the 1127. Also in this starting field, John Wiggins. He'll be in car number 1104. And these will all be easy to tell their class because they all start with the number 11. Larry Meyer will also be in the starting field. He'll be on the car number 1138. Bill Scott Jr. from Interlochen, Michigan. He'll be in the 1124. Also in the starting field, John Hooven from Little Chute, Wisconsin. He'll be in the 1152. Mark Oberg, he'll be in the 1141. Oberg from Eagle River, Wisconsin. And Tom Dart. Dart will be in the 1140. He's from Rhinelander, Wisconsin. That's in the northern part of the state. He'll be in the 1140. And then in car number 1150, it'll be Chris Hazen from Wapaka, Wisconsin. Now, as we told you, there's 31 cars in this field. You can take a look at the rest of the starting lineup. I guess the one place you don't want to be is the last car at the very end of this Le Mans start.
That's where I wouldn't want to be, Marty. I tell you what, this is going to be one tough race to get the front of.
Basically, if you are not near the front starting, it could be a very long race. Watch for the starter's flag, left-hand portion of the screen. In fact, there you get a great look. And then the flag flies, and we are underway. We're just going to sit back and let things sort of sort out as they head towards turn 1. The 1124, that is Bill Scott Jr. Oh, and we've got a spinner as several buggies now get jammed up. Cannot make out. Look at all the dust. It's hard enough to see.
Again, Marty, now we know why it pays to be out front.
The field trying to sort its way out. That is Bill Scott Jr. Then it looks like John Hooven and Larry Beyer. And then pick your favorite car. Down the back straightaway. The first 3 vehicles trying to pull away a little bit. We have got cars. Look at this. 3, 4, 5 abreast at some points. Bill Scott Jr. comes through. Then second place still John Hooven and Larry Beyer. Now the battle for 5th is beginning to heat up between Ken Ewert and John Wiggins.
We got a big traffic jam back here, Marty.
Boy, there's only so much room to get through. Cannot make out who those vehicles are that locked wheels momentarily, but it has cost several cars positions, and now one vehicle has stalled right in the middle of the racetrack. Meanwhile, up front, Bill Scott Jr. getting a little more pressure from John Hooven and Larry Beyer. They have completed the first lap here at the Lake Geneva Raceway in the True Value Off-Road Series. Here is that battle for 5th we mentioned. That is Ken Ewert and John Wiggins right behind him.
Marty, this is racing at its best. It's all about equal cars, equal horsepower. Oh, John Wiggins is going to get in here and dive to the inside.
He's got the inside line. Whoa, and he almost sloops it.
Oh, that was close. He just about got a tire.
Wiggins holds on, unable to complete the pass. He falls back into 5th place. And Ken Ewert can breathe a little easier one more time, although here comes Wiggins again right up underneath him. Oh, no. Lonnie Andrews in the 1191 is upside down. They got wheels going in every direction. Corner workers out there quickly to make sure he's okay. He says thumbs up, so they'll roll him back over, and he'll probably keep going.
Something interesting about off-road racing, Marty, we know these cars are going to get upside down. A lot of forms of racing, you build a cage and a roll bar in case they get upside down. Off-road racing, you know it's going to happen. This
is the battle for the lead now. Bill Scott Jr. in front of John Hooven.
Now, Bill Scott, if you notice, he gets out in the loose stuff. And again, you can't afford to do it with these little horsepower cars.
But he manages to maintain the lead over John Hooven as they come back onto the asphalt one more time. Whoa, suspension broken on Dan Roth. Tom Dart is the driver who just climbed up over top of him there. Boy, he's got all kinds of problems. And whoop, they continue to get a little tangle going there. And both vehicles, oh, and look at how soupy it is down in that portion of the course. You get off course there, it gets stuck.
Cost him lots and lots of time there, Marty.
Bill Scott in front, holding on to the lead right now. And what has happened to John Hooven? Well, he's not right behind as they head down the backstretch. He has opened up a bit of a margin. There is second place, so Hooven has lost a little bit of time. Third place is still Larry Beyer. We can tell you that. Now, wait a minute. Look how far outside Bill Scott takes that race line.
Takes a real odd line there. I don't know why he's out that far.
Well, there's a good view of the front-end damage on Dan Roth's car.
Broke a spindle on that car, Marty.
So his day is done, and the repair bill begins as soon as he gets the car back home. Wait a minute. Hooven is closing on Bill Scott Jr. again. So all of a sudden, this tight section of the course is where Hooven seems to do very well. And Bill Scott Jr. is in a fight, and he's going to lose the lead.
He did lose the lead, Marty. He may have some kind of a problem. He's just pushing or something in the corners.
He has slowed down quite a bit, and you can see how wet that one section of the course is as the water truck got a little generous down there. But John Hooven has taken over the lead. Now, Hooven pulling away from Little Chute, Wisconsin, doing a great job here, getting on the power, taking advantage on the asphalt. Now back on the dirt portion, here comes Bill Scott Jr. Do you think it was just he had the wrong tire for that wet area down there?
What he may have done is look like he may have missed a gear or something, Marty. These guys run a 4-speed transmission, and maybe he just grabbed the wrong gear, and it just cost him a little bit of distance. But he seems to be staying with the leader now.
Well, watch that third vehicle also. Larry Beyer is beginning to close in on our two leaders. John Hooven, Bill Scott Jr., and Larry Beyer. That's the way they are running right now. And John Wiggins is now closing also in 4th. So this battle is really starting to heat up. You can see all 4 cars as they come through the left-hander. The race leader, John Hooven, back in '93, had 2 top 5 finishes, one of those being a victory. Right now, he is getting pressed by Bill Scott Jr. down that straightaway. Who's going to take the corner?
And then he gets back to the outside. He did this before. He gets out of that loose stuff, and every time that cost him.
So there you can literally see all 4 cars in the shot at one time. And there are the 4 leaders. It's Hooven, Scott, Beyer, and Wiggins in that order. But it could change in a moment's notice. One missed gear shift.
You're right, Matty. And I think that's what happened a couple times. The guy just simply missing a gear.
Now that's lap traffic on the left there. Now it's between first and second, right at the apex of the corner. So Bill Scott is going to have a tough time there. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll continue this great battle in Class 11S at the True Value Off-Road Series.
My ultimate ESPN Sports Center highlight would go something like this. I'm on 3rd. And on the first pitch, I go. I'm stealing home. Everyone's going crazy. My manager, the fans, Dan Patrick. But I'm stealing home. I'm in there. I'm home. And somewhere in Philly, my grandma has one of her spells. Yeah, that's my Sports Center highlight.
Marty Reed, Ivan Stewart, and Rick Johnson back with you at the Lake Geneva Raceway at the True Value Off-Road Series. And what a great race we have going in Class 11S. This is John Hooven. He is the leader right now over Bill Scott Jr. There's Larry Beyer, and there's John Wiggins, and that is 1st through 4th, just that quick.
Marty, racing doesn't get any better than this.
Down the back stretch, pass for 2nd place. That's Beyer trying to get under Bill Scott Jr., and he makes it. Oh, and contact between John Wiggins and Bill Scott Jr., but both regain control.
Every time he gets out, he's made that same mistake, and it cost him the ultimate this time.
So now Scott finds himself in a battle for 3rd with that man, John Wiggins. Up front, it is John Hooven now being pressured by Larry Beyer. Now, lap traffic's also going to play a part in this.
It really does. It's going to play a part. How well you read that traffic, which way they move over for you. Do they move over?
Beyer trying the outside line. Whoa, and a spinner. That's Bill Scott Jr. going all the way around. So he's going to lose 3rd place to John Wiggins.
And he may even lost to another position back to Marty.
Now, those are 2 lap vehicles. And watch Beyer on the left pass. And he cuts down. Is he going to make it? Whew, that is close. Those wheels were inside each other.
Great move.
Beyer with a daring pass takes the lead. And I guess John Hooven's probably wondering, where did he come from? Down into turn number 1. There you get Larry Beyer's record last year. He had 3 top 5 finishes. You know, Ivan, we always talk about tire selection being critical. How critical it is in the slower classes like this, because we're going to get another look at this pass.
Well, it really is. You know, a lot of these guys will groove the tires, and the groove that they put on their tires, where they're at on the race course, makes a big difference. Being on the pavement, maybe he's got a little tighter pattern, gets a little better drive, and obviously it could be something like that. I wouldn't doubt it.
What a great pass by Larry Beyer. He almost locks wheels with that slower vehicle, but manages to make a nice recovery. And then he takes over the lead from that point, and this is now the battle for 2nd as John Hooven has John Wiggins all over him. And these guys go side by side. The white flag is out. Look out, guys. There's not enough room. They touch. This could get very interesting heading towards turn 1. That's John Hooven on the left, John Wiggins on the right. That's lap traffic in front of Hooven. Can he get around him? No! Hooven spins and ruins what chance he had of holding on to 2nd place. Oh, and how many times has lap traffic played a part?
Oh, Marty, the last lap, the white flag lap, you can't have patience, and he went for it, and it cost him the ultimate. Larry
Beyer up front, and he is now on cruise. And here is John Hooven, and he is just sick. Everybody who's ever raced knows that feeling of frustration.
Boy, we do, Marty. I've had it before, and it's just not a good one.
Not much you can do except wait till the next race. For this man, Larry Beyer from Slinger, Wisconsin, the checkered flag means this race belongs to him as he takes the Class 11S championship here at Lake Geneva Raceway in the opening round of the True Value Off-Road Series. When we come back, we'll talk to our winner. Don't go away. Second place was John Wiggins. Corey Friday came up to move into third. Stay with us. We'll be back with more right after this. Well, our first 11S race in the True Value Off-Road Series will be hard to beat. Larry Beyer is the winner as we take a look at the final results. Our Rick Johnson has made his way down to Victory Lane to talk to the winner.
I'm here with Class 11S winner Larry Beyer. Congratulations, you did a great job out there. You had one heck of a race. Could you tell us a little bit about your strategy and what went on?
Gee, I really didn't have much of a strategy. I just hated eating the dust, so I ran into somebody down at the first turn, and after that, I knew I got off to a fairly decent start. And I caught up to some lap traffic, and I know that's where I passed the guy that was leading. I think he got a little behind, and I got around him. And after that, it was pretty clear sailing. I was just hoping the car held together.
Well, the car certainly did hold up, and now we'll make our way into Class 13. Now, these vehicles look like production pickups that you might be able to buy in the showroom, but Ivan, they are anything but.
Marty, this is a two-wheel drive pickup class, pretty much an open class. The engine must be mounted in front of the driver. The driver can sit anywhere, and they can make about 500 horsepower.
So we take a look now at the True Value starting field. Dan Vandenheuvel from Appleton, Wisconsin is be in the number 1377. Robert Flanagan from Heartland, Wisconsin. He'll be in the 1369. Then Joe Zilich in the 1334. He's from Wausau, Wisconsin. And also in the starting field, Don Gregoire. He'll be in the number 1305. He's from Whitewater, Wisconsin. Ed Schultz in the 1331. Kenosha is his hometown. And also in the starting field, the 1312 will be driven by David Marks from Watoma, Wisconsin. And Jim Moskalik from Minneapolis, Minnesota. He'll be in the 1342. A total of 15 trucks will take the starting flag. You know, several years ago, you would have seen all types of vehicles in this class, but S.O.D.A has put a rules package together that brings the uniformity of the vehicles more into line. And boy, I'll tell you what, the competition is fast and fierce as the green flag drops, and we are heading down towards turn one. That is Dan Vandenheuvel in front in the 1377. Looks like David Marks may dive in for second place. Jim Moskalik fighting for third.
Big horsepower cars, Marty. Not a lot of technology in the trucks themselves, but lots of horsepower.
These vehicles kicking up a lot of dust through turn number one, and it is still Dan Vandenheuvel in front of David Marks, Jim Moskalik, Don Gregoire, and Robert Flanagan. That's your top five as we see it right now. And you better look fast because the dust is going to cover you up.
Sure is.
Down the back straightaway for lap number one, Vandenheuvel. Now, we talk about cost factors in racing. If you have been with any of our other off-road shows and we talk about exotic suspensions and you see how smoothly a truck lands with those high-dollar suspension systems, and it's for this very reason that these vehicles don't have those exotic suspension systems, that the cost of racing in this class is much cheaper.
Well, that's exactly right, Marty, but you got to remember they're heavy trucks and they come down hard. Not a lot of suspension, so I can see some breakage coming up.
Well, in fact, we're getting a report from Rick Johnson that Ron James has a suspension problem. Let's go to pit lane.
It looks like he bent a tie rod at the beginning of the race. It was really dusty. He couldn't see where he was going. And what happened was he got into a tire with his right front wheel, bending his tie rod and making it a very short race.
Whoa, and it looks like a short race for Don Gregoire. He is stalled at the finish line, and whoa, somebody cuts the course. That's Joe Zilich, who absolutely cuts the course there.
He'll have to come back, Marty. He knows that. There he comes.
There he is. Okay, so he will not be penalized, although he's already lost 4 or 5 positions. But for Don Gregoire, he has got it running again, but only momentarily. It looks as though he's going to have to call it a day in the 1305, or at least try and get it refired. Now, back up front to Dan Vandenheuvel, as he is your leader at this point. Second place is the 1312 of David Marks.
I tell you, I like the way David throws the truck around. He looks to me like he's got some driving talent.
Boy, I'll tell you what, this battle is starting to tighten up a little bit. Marks has been working his way up while we were talking about things back in the pits from Watoma, Wisconsin in the Blazer, as he tries to work his way closer to that front pack. Now, this is David Reitz and John Schultz. Now, this is a battle for fourth on the race course. So it's Reitz in front of Schultz. Now there's Robert Flanagan. He is in 3rd place at this point. So that brings you up to date now on the top 5. Here is the battle for the lead. Vanden Heuvel in front of David Marks. And they are going for it, as Vanden Heuvel knows that he's got pressure from behind as David Marks begins to close in.
And I see a little smoke coming from David's truck, Marty. He may be having some sort of an engine or heating problem.
Well, we're going to find out. We're going to have to break for just a minute. Stay with us. There's your leaderboard at the True Value Off-Road Series. Marty Reed, Ivan Stewart, and Rick Johnson back with you at the Lake Geneva Raceway at the True Value Off-Road Series. There is your race leader in Class 13 action. This is for non-production pickups. That is Dan Vanden Heuvel from Appleton, Wisconsin. Now that is lap traffic first in your screen. There's Vanden Heuvel, and behind him, as you take a look at Vanden Heuvel's record from 1993, is 2nd place David Marks. Marks maintaining about the same amount of distance between 1st and 2nd now.
He does, but I noticed he just got out the loose stuff. He got a problem, Marty. He slowed, looked to me like he slowed way down.
Well, this may slow Vanden Heuvel down. Lap traffic in front of him as he is trying to work his way around, and and he gets into him. In fact, he's hooked. This could cost Vanden Heuvel dearly. Here comes 2nd place David Marks, and somehow Vanden Heuvel manages to maintain the lead. Marks, I think you're right. Marks has got to have a problem.
He's awfully slow there, and he's getting way out in the soft stuff. He's got a major problem.
Yeah, it looks like the motor is gone. And he is pulling off the side of the race course. And that is a shame because he had an opportunity there to take the lead, but there's just no horsepower left as it looks like the motor has gone away in David Marks's machine. So now Dan Vanden Heuvel has a lot of breathing room. 2nd place will now be Robert Flanagan. 1 lap remaining for Vanden Heuvel. He's down into turn 1 more time. In fact, for the final time.
Lots and lots of horsepower. Listen to that motor. He sounds good.
There's Robert Flanagan from Heartland, Wisconsin, 35 years old. That's a 94 Chevy that he has put together there. David Reach has moved into 3rd place at this point. Ooh, sounds a little rough.
Well, he's dropped a cylinder or two, hasn't he?
Sounds like, and he calls his truck the Junkyard Dog. This is Dan Vanden Heuvel working his way around. He's got a huge lead right now. Now this is a battle for 5th. That is Chris Haynes and Don Gregoire. Gregoire got it started again and has worked his way back up into 6th. He is fighting Chris Haynes for that 5th position. It looks like he may get him. They're heading towards turn number 1.
Whoa, whoa. We talk about poor suspension. There's a perfect example when suspension's not working. That's a real uncomfortable feeling to have that happen.
Boy, he almost nosed it straight into the ground. Here comes your winner. It's going to be Dan Vanden Heuvel. Vanden Heuvel looking square at the checkered flag as he takes the win and coasts on out. Class 13 here at the Lake Geneva Raceway, and the True Value Off-Road Series goes to Dan Vanden Heuvel. As the crowd loves it, stay with us. When we come back, we'll talk to our winner. Back at the True Value Off-Road Series in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, I'm Marty Reed, along with Ivan Stewart and Rick Johnson, and the final results are posted in Class 13 as Dan Vanden Heuvel takes home the winner's trophy. In fact, he's in victory lane right now.
I'm here with the winner, Dan Vanden Heuvel. Dan, you made it look easy out there. Could you tell us any concerns that you had with that race?
Well, one concern, I was watching my rearview mirror. Dave Marks was right behind me. He's a good, strong racer. I just had to keep him in my mirror at all times, make sure he's behind me. So I led flag to flag. That's the way I like to do it.
Was there, what do you feel gave you an advantage over the other drivers? The way you set up your truck or what you're using with your truck?
Well, myself and my crew, we built the truck ourselves. So between the good help, the Goodyear tires for the traction, the Rancho suspension, Permatex Loctite, all my other sponsors who helped out, the only way you can win is with a lot of good people.
Well, we're getting ready now for the final race of the day. This will be Class 9-10 here at the Lake Geneva Raceway in the True Value Off-Road Series. And we have an onboard camera for the first time in one of the buggies. Managed able to squeeze it in as we get a look out of Rick Welch's car. And this should be interesting. This is what a Class 9-10 is all about.
Marty, this is the unlimited buggy class. Co-driver's optional. Maximum of 1,650 cc's. These make just about 150 horsepower.
And in the Chevrolet starting field, Todd Attic will try to go for the double. He'll be in the 922. Also, we'll see Jeff Probst from New Lenox, Illinois. He'll be in the 099. Randy Eller, the 937. He's from Taylorville, Illinois. Also in the starting field, the number 107 will be driven by Jim Struble from Derry, Pennsylvania. And the number 912 will be driven by Jeff St. Peter from Port Washington, Wisconsin. And Rick Welch, maybe the longest tow. He comes all the way from Lancaster, California. He'll be in the 911 and carrying our onboard camera system. So as you can see, a lot of drivers from all over the country now racing in the S.O.D.A series. 15 total vehicles.
Marty, this could be really, really good racing. Real competitive. These guys are all good drivers. They've all been around.
On board with Rick Welch as the green flag flies. Let's just sit back and watch. Down into turn one. Welch is on the outside. He's hung out to dry there. I mean, he's going to lose a few spots.
He is right. He got crowded to the outside there. That's going to hurt him a little bit.
All right, now we'll get a chance to see everybody. Well, I think we'll see everybody. Look at the dust. That's Jeff Probst and Todd Addick. I saw those familiar cars dashing through the screen. And look at the traffic behind him. And yes, it is Jeff Probst in the lead. And Todd Addick is second. Right now, we can tell you Rick Welch is in fourth position.
Jeff Probst's car is probably the lightest car out here with the most technology. It's a real flyweight little car, lots of horsepower. He can really get it around the track, Marty.
These guys running nose to tail. Remember, Addick going for the double. He's won once already today here at the Lake Geneva Raceway. On board again with Rick Welch. Now, this is the first time that Welch has ever come back to race in the Midwest. And everybody who has ever made the trip from California always says, I underestimated the competition a little bit.
Well, I think they really have. These guys out here are very, very serious about their racing. Lots and lots of experience.
Well, there's a corner where the water truck's gotten a little happy. You can see the puddles down there. And, whoa, no, that's Jeff St. Peter that gets tapped. And he is the first vehicle in your screen there. He manages to recover, but whoa, that could have been serious. And while we're watching that, somehow it looks like Todd Addick, who won Class 1/1600 earlier today, has gotten around Jeff Probst and has taken over the lead.
Yeah, Todd Addick is just really, really competitive lately. Very, very aggressive. He's doing the job. He's not making mistakes. He's really, really on.
That's Jim Struble on the right and Steve Norris on the left. They are battling for fourth as they head through turn number one. Who's going to take the position? It'll stay in the hands of Jim Struble. This is Mark Wilkins now. First time we've been able to see Mark. He has moved up to third position on the race course. And on board again now with Rick Welch. He has dropped back to sixth. And for some reason, that car doesn't look as clean as it first did.
No, it sure doesn't, Marty. Look at the front end balance, left, right. Steering real quick on these cars, much quicker than in a truck. Just back and forth, back and forth. You got to fight that light front end.
Oh, there's Todd Addick, and look who has spun in the back of that last turn, heading to the main straightaway, Jeff Probst. So Probst was beginning to look like he was reeling in our leader, but now has fallen back again after having another spin.
You just can't afford to do that, not with racing against Todd Addick.
There you can see Todd's 93 record. Add to that one win already in 94 as he won earlier in Class 1/1600.
Notice Todd's style, too. He comes in hot. Hear the motor. You very seldom hear the motor drop off an RPM with Todd. Keeps that RPM, keeps the tires spinning, and that's the efficient way to get these cars around these corners.
That's the battle for fourth. Steve Norris gets around Jim Struble. Can he make it stick? Well, all the mud's sticking, and it looks like the pass is going to stick as well. So Norris is now in fourth place. Todd Addick, as he is winding his way towards another checkered flag. Boy, you can barely see any of the markings on the vehicle. Speaking of barely able to see, we're back on board with Rick Welch. Heading down towards turn one. Boy, it is amazing being able to see that suspension. We don't get that when we have our in-car cameras on board with the pickup trucks. Whoa, look out. Vehicle almost slid right into it just that quickly.
That's right. That's exactly what happens that quickly. Look at the wheels turn, just like you mentioned a minute ago. Lots and lots of steering here.
Boy, he has got to work to keep that car on course, and here comes some more mud. Don't go away. The finish of this race is bound to be exciting. We're at the True Value Off-Road Series at Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Back at the True Value Off-Road Series at the Lake Geneva Raceway, Marty Reed, Ivan Stewart, and in pit lane, Rick Johnson. And there is your leader, Todd Attig, and the laps are winding down. And unless Todd Attig breaks at this point, Ivan, I think it would be safe to say he's going to take home the double today.
The only thing you got to worry about now is lap traffic. Just somebody doesn't get in front of him, spin out, something like that. He should have a race in his pocket, Marty.
He is working his way through some slower traffic at this point. We can tell you Jeff Probst is in second place, but is just there coming into the screen. So it is going to take some kind of mistake on the part of Todd Attig for this race to go back to Jeff Probst. This is the battle for sixth right now. Oh, look out as Randy Eller and Jim Struble get into each other, and that is Struble, who is over on the side. He does get the car refired and is back out on the race course. Let's take another look. Take us through it, Ivan.
It looks to me like they just come together, just touch wheels. The right wheel climbed right up on the top of that car and threw him right in the ditch.
Boy, Eller was able to keep going, but Struble almost went over. Todd Attig has just gotten around some lap traffic, and this is near the finish line. That's Jack Hainlin, and whoa, somebody gets into it. Was it Attig? No. I can't make out the number, but it is not Todd Attig, who momentarily runs right into Jack Hainlin. Luckily, no damage done to either vehicle. Back on board with Rick Welch, but he is falling back farther and farther in this race. Welch on the far portion of the race course. This is the last turn, in fact, before he heads onto the main straightaway. Look how soupy it is right down there. Oh, and he spun it. And Jim Struble comes sliding right into him there. So it looks as though he stalled it, Ivan.
He may have killed the motor, but he got a win even.
Boy, it doesn't sound like it wants to start. Welch, that's what it looks like from the far end of the race course. He does get it refired finally, but he has fallen back even further now. So his first experience, a bit of a challenge here at the Lake Geneva Raceway. Todd Attig with more lap traffic to try and work his way around. He's working his way down to the final turn on this Lake Geneva Raceway layout.
He's being real careful now, Marty. He's just about got this in the bag.
All he has to do is get to the checkered flag, and it should be in hand the next time around. In fact, this should be the white flag lap. And yes, there it is. So Attig gets around the lap traffic safely, has the inside line, heading down the front straightaway towards turn number 1.
One thing Todd does, if you watch him in the corners, he gets way ahead of the corners. He'll start his turn and way ahead of most guys. Get the car sliding and pick up that RPM. Hear the RPM, that's a clean way through those corners.
And he gets a tremendous amount of good side bite through there. Nobody's, of course, in that one wet corner, but I've noticed that his amount of side bite, watch how there it's a little damp, and but even still, it seems to be less than some of the other competitors.
Yeah, he's been around buggy racing for a long time. He knows how to groove the tires. He knows how to drive these cars.
Well, there's a great example. You can see just how far the slower traffic had to go to get control of the race car in that wet section. Todd came cleanly through. So
that's exactly right, Marty.
You want to see some great driving. Todd Attig has given you a great display today, winning in Class 1 1600 and on the verge of doing it again.
That's right. And one of these days we'll see Todd, I'm sure, in one of these big trucks.
Through the mogul section one more time. In fact, for the last time, now heading for the final turn, Todd Attig. Whoa, gets a little wide on that one. Attig from Dixon, Illinois, at the age of 28, gonna take the double today in the True Value Off-Road Series. Up onto the asphalt for the last time, past the checkered flag to take the win here at the Lake Geneva Raceway. So it's going to be Todd Attig. Jeff Probst will come home in second place. Mark Wilkins will cross the line in third. Don't go away. When we come back, we'll talk to our winner at the True Value Off-Road Series. Well, back at the Lake Geneva Raceway, the final results of the Class 9-10 action here in the True Value Off-Road Series. Todd Attig makes it a double as he takes the win here. Let's go down to Victory Lane and Rick Johnson.
Congratulations, a convincing win for Todd Attig in Class 9-10. You looked like you had a little bit of a race at the beginning, but from lap 2 on, you were very convincing. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, another car got out at me on the hole shot there, but we were able to reel him in about throughout the first half of the lap, and he made a little mistake there, and we were able to get by him. And just a good, clean run. I kind of hate to get out in the front and run all the way through the race because it ain't very exciting for the spectators, but we'll take them however we can. And I tell you, I'd like to thank Budweiser and BF Goodrich this year. They've helped me out a lot in the past, and they're continuing their support, and we really appreciate it. And Lake Geneva does a beautiful job with this racetrack, and it's wonderful to start the season off here, and good for a win, I'll tell you that.
One interesting statistic about Todd Addick. Coming into this season, he had won 20 races in the 10-race series of the S.O.D.A schedule last year by doubling up the events. So you can see just how tough a driver he has been in the past and how he has started off here. Our next broadcast on the True Value Off-Road Series will be Sunday morning, 1 a.m. on July 10th. Now, that's Saturday evening, July 9th at 10 p.m. Pacific, so mark your calendars. That's going to do it for us here. Ivan, final comments?
Well, Marty, I tell you, we talked about having good, aggressive, fast racing. We had it. I can't wait till we get to Antigo.
Well, for Rick Johnson and the Iron Man, Ivan Stewart, I'm Marty Reed. Thanks for joining us for the True Value Off-Road Series. We hope you've enjoyed it. We'll be back with you again very soon on ESPN Speed World. So long for now, everybody.